So let me get this link.
All right, everybody, welcome to the, I guess, the new rendition of the directory webinar here. As everybody's getting in the room, just give everybody a few minutes to jump in here. So I'm turning everybody's microphone on as they jump in here. So feel free to introduce yourself. Just say hi. I see Hans, Kia, Mark. You typed in your name as Macker, so I'll call you Macker. But Mark, welcome, and Russell.
Hello.
So hey Mark, I turned just this one. I'm using the webinar here. I'll just leave everybody's video off for now. I know unless somebody's on a dressed up for the occasion and wants to get on the stream here, let me know and I'll make you front and center. But we'll just try to present stuff or show screens, share and look up stuff for the content on the screen for today.
What are you talking about? I hunted down my false teeth.
Oh, well, I did this before. Frank, do you want to go full screen here? Or we can put you on.
No,
All right.
just teasing. So
Hey, Ryan.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey,
Yes,
Ryan.
The only thing that's a problem here is I don't know who's here and who's not.
I'm
seeing.
Yeah. Do you have the? I don't know what it looks like from the side there under the chat. Do you just have the chat bubble? We don't have the participant list underneath the chat bubble on the left.
All it's showing is you and me.
Okay. Maybe I can't hide that. But anyway, go ahead, Mark. Were you gonna say something?
Yeah. Ryan, my name, when I got the invitation, it was spelled Makr. I don't know if I did that or.
Yeah, I think you did that in the.
Okay.
The actual sign.
My bad.
So should I be on the directory toolkit site or the webinar site?
You can go wherever you want. You can go just to the webinar link. You're in here. You're fine.
But I'm saying I don't see where anybody else is in here but you and me.
Well, I just talked about that. Everybody's video's off, but I can turn it. Who wants to be on the video? I'll get on there with me. There we go.
Well, at least it should have some names under everybody. I mean, come
there
on.
we go. Do you have that now with the?
I got pictures with no names.
I just see in the attendee, just myself and Ryan. That's all.
There we go. Hans is here.
With my green screen.
Nice.
Literally.
You rolled out the big bucks for that one, huh?
Oh yeah.
You got to move your camera down. It's partially.
When you go to Amazon and you type in.
There you go. It looks a little Italian from.
Well, I've got a nice picture.
You go to Amazon and you type in your best green screen.
$3 at the at a place where you buy green cloth.
Right.
It works pretty good, except I'm not seeing my beautiful picture.
The bends can be a problem. You want to pull it tight.
Well, it works pretty good when it's working.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm embarrassed.
I always wondered about that. Does it matter what type of green it is?
Not really.
Not really, but there is a code for what the green actually is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a hex code for it. Because some high-end video, like if you're doing like Disney and stuff like that,
right?
They have a specific hex code that's used for green screen.
Okay, so as I told everybody, we're just kind of testing out this system for this week. Thank you for joining us. It looks like, Hans, you were able to turn your video on and off by yourself, so that's good. I wasn't sure if I needed to allow that for everybody. It looks like you guys are good to go, so I think everybody should be able to turn on or off their video accordingly if they want to put their mug on the screen with me there.
And I'm not complaining. I'm just bringing it up that like this is another bandwidth jumpy screen. I don't know if you're seeing what I'm seeing, but it's like stop motion video.
Mine sometimes is for the the background thing. I tried to switch to my other camera. For some reason, it's blocking my normal camera. I have no idea why. So you're stuck with my jumpy screen.
I'm going to get people to wear name tags, obviously, because I don't know who anybody is.
It's got their name on the picture. Do you not see that on the bottom left of the picture?
Oh yeah, I see it.
Yes.
Well, this one you can't. It's so small and it's white.
Put your glasses on or your eyes or whatever you need to
To
do.
call that small is ridiculous. It's minuscule, and it's white on almost white.
Oh, yeah, maybe it is for mine. Let's see.
Well, yours is a little bit over black, but who's the gentleman down here in the lower right-hand corner? Who is that?
Scott. Welcome, Scott.
Hi,
Thank you.
Scott. A new Scott? We have another Scott.
I must be a new Scott because I haven't been here before.
You can't read his name down there. It's impossible.
Well, great, Scott. We're going to start with you since you're on camera and you're new.
Yeah,
Please introduce yourself.
hang a,
And,
what do they call a sandwich board around your neck next time you come?
well, once everybody shows up every week, we'll know everybody,
That's
so we
true.
won't need the name tags anyway.
That's
So
like- I
hi,
can't
my name
remember.
is.
I can't remember what I had for breakfast today. Okay, so cut me a break. Seriously.
All right. Well, Scott, so if you're willing, let us know, how long you've been with BD, or if you have a website, or if you need any help, just kind of introduce yourself, and then we can introduce a topic, and we can go from there.
No, I literally saw your announcement, Brian, this morning, about 20 minutes ago, while I was getting the smoker ready for some smoked chuck roast this afternoon. I own a website that has been in existence for 11 years, but it is out of date, out of format, etc., and it needs to be rebuilt. So I'm looking at BD as the potential platform to relaunch it.
Okay, great. What kind of website is it?
It is a directory of racetracks in the United States.
Nice. Very, very. Where are you from? Or where are you at?
Racing, car racing, all of the
Car
above?
racing, auto racing, dirt tracks, drag strips, ovals. Mostly grassroots.
Cool. You know, where are you from? Where do you live?
I live outside of Chicago.
Chicago. Have you ever heard
Midwest. I was like, I'm from Michigan. We've got a ton of those around here. So
have you ever heard of Nazareth?
I have heard of Nazareth Speedway.
Yeah, you know if that's still open?
Long lost Nazareth Speedway. That's
Is it
I
really?
think that's been closed for a long time.
Wow, I used to be an ex-motorcycle racer years ago,
Yep.
back in the Gary Nixon days. And Nazareth, the mile, was just the greatest dirt track race that there is on the face of the earth, I think.
Yep.
I thought you were one of those daredevil guys who went around in
I would never do it. I was a road racer. Never, if I couldn't get asphalt and rubber, I wasn't on it. No dirt track for me. But it is.
Scott, I have a big, not a big background in NASCAR stuff. My grandpa had an airstrip right north of Michigan International Speedway, so we had all the NASCAR guys always fly into his airport, and we'd drive them over to the racetrack and stuff like that. So a lot of some of the smaller, dirt track guys, as they moved up, kind of came in and came through the airport all the time. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's how I ended up. That's how I got involved in the racing world to begin with. Is I worked in the NASCAR world for a few years. So I've been to Michigan quite a few times.
I lost my window. Where'd everybody go? Oh, there you
Great.
go.
Yeah, it was a Shamrock Airport just north of MIS there in Brooklyn.
So that's my story. I am looking at BD as a replacement to relaunch it, and then possibly expand it beyond that. So.
Okay, great. So what questions do you have left about the system to make the jump? And then what are you trying to see if it has that your other one did that you like must-haves or questions you have about the software?
Well, you know what, the question that I have, and I think I've gotten it answered. I've asked it a few different ways on the BD group, is in regards to API cost using the Google Maps tools. When my site was at its heyday, I got 170,000 map views a month. And obviously that gets a little expensive with Google having gone to a let's charge them model the last few years. So that's my biggest thing, is just trying to figure out, percentage of people who actually use the maps versus the listings, things like that. So I can plan out the P&L.
Right. So the calculations on their site kind of basically say they give that $200 credit to everybody for free, and it equates to about 100,000 data pulls or API pulls. So if you're at 170,000, it would cost you a little bit per month. One of the things that BD did, and they have an actual website that have you seen the help desk question on that, how to reduce your API calls?
You know what? I saw that. I saw that a couple of weeks ago and went through it. My challenge is that the maps were the most used resource on my regular website, because people, when they're traveling, they want to see where the tracks lay out on a map.
Right.
So it's a popular resource.
Well, I mean, it is what it is, right? I mean, a data pull is a data pull, so it really doesn't matter on the platform you're using. If you're rendering the map, it's a API call, so it's not, let's say, a moot point, but it's
Oh yeah.
it shouldn't determine, which software you use, but
right.
It would have some costs. You obviously have to look at it. I don't know how many people actually get that much traffic on the specific maps in order to pay. The question's been asked in the forum several times, and there's usually crickets or like one or two people that said, yeah, I got a bill, but everybody else didn't say anything. So
also, Scott, if you decide you are going to take the plunge, make sure you contact Ryan. We got some great offers on some beautiful website deals, much better than you'll get from BD. Only don't tell them we said so. Okay.
Well, whoever Brian, he's talking about you, Ryan or Brian? Ryan.
yeah.
Yeah, you've got my email address, so feel free to send me your information.
Okay. Yeah, and I think we'll eventually put it on the Directory Toolkit website, but yeah, we can get everybody a license, and then the VIPs if you need it as well at a great rate. So, so other than the maps, is there anything else? I guess, are you just looking for one site or multiples or?
Well, I mean, if the one goes well, then I've got other ideas and other concepts that I've secured website domains for that nobody's really touching nationwide. So. If I can get a hold of one and grow it from there, then I've got other different ideas too. This is the topic area that I've been involved in for 15 years, so I figured it makes sense to start there.
Yeah. Do people that race cars and tracks like that, do they do a lot of off-road vehicle stuff as well? Like they have multiple. That's kind of they're in the auto genre, and they have snazzy cars or off-roading kind of stuff too that they do on the side, or is it they kind of focus on the racing and the track car stuff?
Most of the racers are going to do a lot of DIY stuff. They might not be off-road racers. Most of them are blue-collar workers who work during the day.
Right.
So it's a rural sport. But there's a lot of tracks. So. Who knows what a post-COVID race world is going to look like, but history shows that whenever there's been a recession or a crisis or chaos in the United States, that grassroots racetracks see a little bit of a resurgence. So,
I would think the pitfall for those are all the smaller tracks with the seating stuff. They just don't have the capacity to spread out that much, probably. But
yes, but out in rural America, let's just say the restrictions are far less. Far less restrictive.
Yeah, that and you can usually go sit around the entire track and get mud thrown at your face, which everybody loves to do. So
and land in your beer.
Exactly. Now we had a racetrack down. I just retired from the military, so we had I was down in Columbus, Mississippi, and our squadron down there. We actually sponsored a local dirt track car as the squadron, just kind of the community interaction thing. And we actually had our own, I'll have to find a picture for next week if you're here, but we had the squadron logo painted all over the car, and we basically sponsored that driver. And so we'd always go to the dirt track or whatever and sit on the backside, and everybody would sit there and park and have fun. But yeah, we'd get the dirt and mud thrown all over us on turn 4 or 3 there. So
that wasn't Greenville Speedway, was it?
It might have been.
I've been there. I've helped a company produce some live broadcasts from there before. If it's Greenville Speedway, I flew into Memphis and drove down to Greenville, and that was a great drive, and I loved the area. Yeah,
no, it was fun, and it got everybody together to do that. So, all right, well, great. So, any have you delved into the software? I guess anything specific we can answer. You don't have the software, so I don't. Are you on a trial or did you not even start yet?
I have not done the trial yet. My guess, my feeling was I'd probably get it done either this week or next week. I'm trying to get the directory updated now, so I get all the bad data out of it. You know, I've got a database of 1,500 tracks, so a lot of them don't exist anymore since the directory started years ago, and have been hands off for a couple years while I've been working in the other worlds.
Okay. Well, so since Scott's just starting his directory out, I guess I'll just start there with the spiel today on what to do for the beginning setting up your directory. So there's two things when you're initially setting up your directory that you want to get done right away before you start adding people. And the first one is you want to determine your membership levels and how you're going to set that up. So Scott said he already has a directory, so he's already got some seed listings. He probably already has people that he's going to be able to port in there that can get busy right away. So he needs to have those already uploaded into his business before he turns it on, obviously, if he has the data. Sometimes if you don't have an existing site and you're just scraping some listings or contacts, or you have a list of people, you can do one of two things. You can either add them and have them live, or you can upload them and make them claim listings. And what that claim listings basically does is it has all the data like they're in there, but they're not actively live or using your website. And it gives them the opportunity to one-click claim it as the business, so they can basically take over their profile that you've started for them and cross the finish line. So those are a couple options. So you want to set up how you're going to do your business. And so the part of that for how you're going to set that up is the membership levels. And that is basically, do I want a bronze, silver, gold? What little features? Obviously, Brilliant Directories has almost hundreds of features that you can turn on or off, and it's very granular. But you want to have that set up right away so you can advertise what those membership levels have from the very beginning, because the last thing you want to do is set up your directory and then start changing what the capabilities or the opportunities for the people are after the fact, because obviously then you're shifting a moving target for your current listers. And so that's one of the first things you want to do is get the membership levels. And the second thing, and probably more important thing, is you want to get your category structure set up and have that at least organized and figure out how you're going to do that. Because again, that is one of those things that you can do after the fact, but it's very difficult when you have live active users that are in different categories and you set that up. You kind of can't move them around very freely after the fact. So you want to have those set up right away. So you can always add features as well. It's easier to add than to take away. And I'd always recommend, and BD does as well, that you get your core features that you want to initially start with and make those squeaky clean and easy and efficient for your new members, and then turn the other stuff on as you go, as you have more efficiency and capability going forward. But that would be up to you. So those are the two things there, Scott, that as you're looking at the software and as you get started, you'll want to do: set up the membership levels and the categories. And then all the other stuff is window dressing on the, how it looks and your processes as well. But those are two things that are hard to go back from.
How many different categories can you, I know, how many different groups of categories?
Okay, so I'm gonna switch to my screen share here. Let me log in.
And I apologize. I don't want to monopolize this from anybody. I know there's other people here, so
No, that's fine. Normally everybody jumps in here. A lot of these are old timers here that have been here before, so we'll just talk of whatever comes up. And again, everybody, I'll just reiterate for everybody: if you want to discuss something that we're talking about today, and you want to jump in, just go ahead and interrupt. But Scott, you're not jumping over anything at all. That's how we roll with the directory presentation here. So can everybody see my back office?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. Great. So so Scott's question is, how many different categories can I have? So I'm just going to do a demo of my local directory. You can do as many or as few as you want. So you can have one category that says members and everybody goes into that category, or you can have multiple levels of categories. So I'm going to go into this one. This is the one I have that has the most categories. So that's why I just want to kind of show you this, because it kind of delineates how the the setup is, but it's broken down. The BD site's broken down into top level categories and sub level categories. And although it only says sub level categories on here, this is actually made up of 2 separate levels: the sub level and then the sub level. Some people have asked before, why isn't there a tab for sub levels? And the reason is because all of these are in the same data table or data row, and so they kind of all group together, but it's broken down or delineated by the sub level that those sub levels are attached to. And I'll get to that in a second. But so these are the top level categories. You can have as many as you want, and they just list down here with all the different sub level categories. Obviously, you probably don't want 2,000 top level categories, because realize when they're in the front end and they're trying to pick their category, you don't want them to have to pick 100 categories. You want them to find something and go, I am a sports person, that's where my business goes, boom, right there, and they don't have to search for it. It should be fairly simple. So normally the top level categories are fairly tight. The sub-level categories, now this is where you can get as in-depth as you want. I have 2,147 categories for mine. It seems like a lot, but it's not really, and I'll show you why. Just realize all of these categories, when you go into the back end here, are broken down by that top level and then the sub-level category, and then these are the ones underneath that. So for me, I have like recreation would be a sub-level. I have sports as a sub-level. So if this is a disc golf business, it's in sports, fitness, recreation, sport for me, and disc golf. So there's really only 3 layers you'll ever do on the BD site, and it breaks when you just think about it. When you break the 19 down into let's say 50, and then every one of those 50 has 50. It's not that many on the categories that it looks like, because by the time you partition down, it then breaks it down into those smaller categories, if that makes sense. So you can have as many categories as you want, but this is kind of what I was saying, why you want the categories done first, is because after you add it into the categories, it locks it into these top level categories or the top level and sub level categories. There's no way to move that category. So the only thing you can do is delete the category and then add it back into the new location that you want. So it's very hopefully they'll improve this a little bit, but it's not really that restrictive. But just realize it's just something you got to know. You have to get it in the right spot ahead of time, because you can't like just drag and drop or move that around after the fact. But limited categories.
So the user can't go in and change their category if they change their business model?
No, they can't. I'm saying you as the admin, because they're locked into the database, you can't just move everybody's category on them. If that makes sense. Okay. So let me log in as a member. I've already got. I think I'm already logged in under myself. So I am. So if you're ever logged in, I'm just going to go to again, this is my member dashboard for a particular member, and this is what your member will see when they log in. They'll go to their membership dashboard. And so as we talked about, there's a top level category, and then the sub and sub levels are kind of grouped together, and I'll show you where that is at in the dashboard. So in the contact details for every member, this is the main contact details for your listing. There is a pull down for top category right here. And so for me, these are the 19 categories that I showed you earlier for myself. And they pick a category. For me, this is a community local website. I'm just as a community member top level category. So now after they hit save down at the bottom, it's going to go to the different tabs where they can add more information. But the sub level and sub level categories are in the listing details, basically where they pick. BD also calls them specialties, or they're just sub level categories. And if there is a subcategory available to that particular top level category, it will show up here. Now you notice on mine, it's just a community members one for myself, because I just made the community members thing. There is no sub-level groups for that. So they do not have an option to add that. Now I want to show you what happens when I do change the top level to one that does have that. I'm going to go ahead and just pick another category here, and we'll say agriculture, because I'm in a big agricultural area here. I'm going to hit save and continue. And now I'm going to go to the other tab again, and you'll notice that after I pick that top level that has those listing details, it then opens up the selection for the categorizing. So all of these right here that you see are basically the sub-level categories. The sub-level categories show up as checkboxes underneath the sub-level. So let's say I'm a farming business, I'm in agricultural and equipment. Then they can say I do barn equipment, horse equipment, and I do hay, right? After they add that in there, they'll get listed in those 3 categories. They can also search by keyword. So let's say I do vegetables. Okay, there we go. So I'm a vegetable farm. They can just type in vegetable, and it'll auto filter the categories and open up to the ones that say vegetable. So now I know that. And let's say I do pigs. There we go. So livestock, pork, and pigs. So now after they save it and continue, it'll show up on the top here. The next time they're in here, it'll kind of tell them which categories they're listed in. And then they can easily go ahead and change those or X those out. So now it says I'm listed in 3 subcategories, basically with the along with the top level categories as well. And then they can X those out and just close those out if they don't want those. So that's how the picking process works.
Are all those subcategories the same terms as in the the first sub level underneath your primary categories?
Okay, say the question again.
So when you were on your admin database, you had your primary category level,
right?
And then you had the secondary category level beyond that. So you had your sports, and then after sports you had archery. Right. Are all these individual agricultural management, are those also the same languages in those secondary categories, or is this a whole different data table of categories?
No, this is, so look, I'll just use fishing products for example. I'll go back to here, and again you can filter out here. So I'm just going to go fishing products, right? So now here's all the categories. This is the sub level under agricultural farming. This is the fishing products, right? And then this is one of the sub level categories. It's under agricultural fishing products, clams, crabs, fish, lobsters, right? So if I go back to fishing products, all right, there's all those sub level categories.
Gotcha. Okay, so every subcategory has a bunch of subcategories underneath it.
Right, and you don't have to. So for instance, if I didn't have any sub levels, it would show like this for the sub level. So it would say agriculture and farming products with a checkbox. It'll say agricultural management with a checkbox, because there are no sub levels to pick. It'll just have these subcategories listed like this, because that's the furthest that goes down.
That's so far more complicated than my directory is.
Yeah, but it's very nice, right? So now now I have horse equipment, right? So if I type in horse equipment up here, and I'm probably the only one in here. See, now I type in horse equipment. There's my subcategories, horse equipment. So now if I click on that for the database, there's that lone listing, because that's the only one for horse equipment that I have in there right now.
Gotcha.
Right, but it attaches that keyword or that category to your listing.
So are those the same terms? How are those terms transferred through SEO? Are those all incorporated into the keywords and the descriptors for the page, or is that a whole separate process?
Okay, so I'll just look at it. I'll talk to that real quick. So I'm just going to view the page source here. So the SEO aspects of that are going to be based on the SEO template for that particular page. So you notice here, and I'll go to the front end here to kind of show you where that is set up. But right here, it has search our horse equipment database, and connect with the best horse equipment professionals and other local professionals. So it has the horse equipment in there. It has in the title, it has horse equipment, find and compare horse equipment professionals. And then keywords, it has the horse equipment right there in the keywords. Is that kind of what you're asking for?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if that's automated where, when you choose horse equipment, does that automatically get incorporated? You don't have to go back through, the SEO,
Yes.
SEO tools. It automatically gets locked in there.
It automatically does. So if you guys ever have, as an admin, you're on the page, you'll have this toolbar off to the left. And what you want to do, I'll just kind of show you this from right here for the SEO. That's what these little carrots are. We'll click on that. And what that's going to do is open up the SEO template for that particular search results. And the that you can see here, see all these percent stuff? These are dynamic, interchangeable items that switch automatically based on the page. So you notice it said horse equipment on there. If I went to the vegetable farm, it would say vegetable farm in there. And so on every page for these SEO templates, again, you go to content and SEO templates for everybody.
Yep.
There are SEO meta tags right here, and these are all dynamic. So when it said, remember when it said farm equipment? So it automatically replaces that in the title, the keywords, and the description based on what you put in there as farm equipment. Find and compare farm equipment professionals.
Right.
And so you can change that to whatever you want. You can add other dynamic variables in there, and it'll automatically add those in there per page, per person.
Got it. That was just what I was curious if it's dynamic based on the database.
Yep, it is. It pulls it from the database. And then you can also, for that particular SEO template too, you can also choose the social media share details, and you can have different things share on there. So for mine, it would say Hudsonville and West Michigan farm equipment. So if somebody shared that on social, it would say that title. And then you can also upload for this particular SEO template a image. So it has a specific image, or otherwise it just shows my normal homepage items when I share it.
Okay, so can you go back to that where you're uploading the image there?
Yep. Oops.
So I work in Facebook for a living, and I deal with driving traffic and the OG.
You work at Facebook?
I work within. My specialty is working with businesses to optimize for Facebook and drive traffic.
Okay, got it. Okay.
So, social media consultant is kind of what I do for a living. I work for a concert venue, but that's obviously not exactly a venue of production right now.
Right.
So the image that I upload can be, and it translates specifically based on the size that I upload, because my experience with a lot of, and I've looked through a lot of BD directories, is Facebook looks for a specific ratio of image to share it as part of a when you do a link post, if you will. 1200 by 628 is the image size that is optimized when you share a link post on Facebook. So this is where I would add that individual image. And can the individual business users insert that image there, or can I go to the business user's profile and upload that image for them to make sure that it's working right?
So no need to do that. For each individual listing, it will automatically pull the image that you have in for the particular directory.
Yeah, but the problem with that is if a racetrack uploads an image that's primarily square, Facebook's going to chop it to be rectangular, and they may lose stuff on the top or the bottom. So
I don't know that it does. Well, Frank, I don't have my stuff turned on. Can I go to your site, Frank, and use yours real quick?
Yep.
So I'll I'm just gonna try it live here, see what it does. I think it's sequenced pretty good on here. I don't know that it normally cuts it off. It normally at pull something in. I'll see what it does here. No, I know what you're saying though. Yeah, it cuts off the sides. I'm hearing you.
Yeah, if it's a rectangular image, it'll post it above the web snippet. If it's a square image, it'll post it off the side and a much smaller. And right there, it's not even pulling an image on that one.
Yeah.
And if you want to know, there's actually a link in Facebook that you can actually test and see how Facebook reads your individual listings. It's called the Facebook debugger.
Right. Yeah.
And that's where like I said, I've gone to a lot of BD directories, and I've seen in some directories it doesn't pull an image, some directories it does, some directories it chops it, some directories it makes it smaller, and that's, like I said, that's what I do for a living. So for me, it's all about helping business make sure that their listing is optimized so that it's seen, as positively as possible. The image is what sells more than anything else on Facebook. So, anyway. So as long as there's an ability to have an image uploaded,
I thought it normally pulled. I'm gonna have to look at that again. Because normally everything you post in the into Facebook. In fact, I'm just gonna. This may be the specific integration here for that. Maybe doesn't pull the image. I'm just gonna go straight off from there. I'm gonna go to my the Facebook here, and I'm gonna see what it does on just a normal group thing, not just the feed piece. And because that one has that one's not the default one in BD, so I may have to double check on that. But and we could probably talk about that more in depth next week or research that. Yeah. So that's what you're talking about right there.
Yeah. So it sees the image as square, so it chops off the sides.
Right. Well, so this is what I do for mine, and actually I'm going to go back to mine because this is why I do this for mine. When I do all these images, I make sure on mine that they are square.
Right.
So when it does pull that, and this is a good I guess topic set for everybody. Notice on mine they're all square. I'm gonna grab mine real quick. I'm gonna do a search on mine, and this is. Sometimes people say, hey, BD site doesn't look good. Everybody's stuff is different. They're uploading different stuff. Well, you guys have to take control of your own database and your own stuff. So if they're not uploading an image that looks good, you may have to take that or either have guidance that you provide them so they do it correctly. Or yes, I know I said you do. Sorry. Or you want to have basically change it for them, because I've had to do that for several of mine, even though I told them. Yeah. But you notice how on mine, every one of these is square. They all look the same. They all look really nice. If I keep loading all 800 of the businesses in here, they're all the same. So they're all gonna theoretically. I'm gonna close that out. I'm gonna try mine. They're theoretically gonna pull correctly in here.
All right.
Yeah, and I see it. And your directory looks great, by the way. I mean, I'm at it right now, and I'm searching through and looking at a bunch. When your default is a square, it fills the link like that with the image to the left and the information to the right. If you happen to have a default image that's rectangular, 1200 by 628, it will put the full image above the web listing and put the information about the link below it. Right. So it's just a little bit of a different orient. Ryan, I can send you information offline. Like I said, that's what I.
No, that's good. Hey, Frank, hold on a second. I'll get to you. I think you can. Again, this is more of a bandwidth issue, but you can make it a 1200 by 628 for the original image, and BD will. So here's mine. With the square, all mine will look good just like that, like he's talking about. But what he's talking about is the actual image will show up right here, full page, and it'll look like one of these cool, like that, right? Where it has that over top of it as opposed to a side. But you can change the dimensions of the image, and I'll let Frank jump in here real quick, but I'll show you that image thing in a second on where to do that. Go ahead, Frank.
I just wanted you to go back to my site and upload one of the ones under Parish, because I want to.
What's your site, Frank?
The one we're building now is vinelandnj.com. VINELAND.
Okay. You just want me to load up what?
Well, when you loaded the Parish, it was cut off. Just load up the one under it that say generic image.
Oh yeah, that's gonna do what I just did. Yeah, I didn't realize those were square, but yeah, that'll look just like the one I just did if it's square.
It'll all show.
Yeah. So yeah, so you want it if you made that square just like that, that would show
put
fine.
the Parish logo in a square.
Right.
Gotcha. And the
Yep.
default size is what?
1200 and by 628 is what he's talking about. If it's big enough, it'll add that to the top, and it's probably just a trigger, right? Scott, does it have to? If it's like an iota smaller, it doesn't do that.
Well, no, because if your images, your primary images right now, and it looks like on Frank's site too, are coded as a square image. So Facebook is going to treat it as a square image, and it's gonna take the whole. So if you uploaded that Parish Farms, that logo, and you don't incorporate it into a square, it's going to fill that rectangular logo into the square, which is why it chops off the sides of it. As opposed to if you use Canva.com, I use Canva for all my graphics, and you start with a square image and you put the Parish logo in the middle of it, and just make sure it fits side to side with a white background, and then you save that image as your square, use that as your image upload, then it will do what it won't chop off the sides.
Right. This webinar brought to you by Canva.com. There we go. There's my 200 by 200 logo template right there. So 200 by 200 is what I use. And again, it's just for bandwidth things, because it's obviously 200 by 200 is works good for me.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just a difference. And it's a logo. And in the racing world and in the concert world, I always use the rectangular, it goes back to the original question. And I'm sorry it's gone off the rails here, but that question that I had about on the right hand side scrolling down to be able to insert a separate image, if I can delineate that as a 1200 by 628, and if I as the admin have the ability to go and
so it's not per
per
person. This is a SEO for the particular. Let me just go to the SEO templates. This one is for. There's not unlimited SEO templates. There's 45, I think. Yep. So there's a lot, but it's not one per person. That SEO template is for that particular page type. And so if you upload an image of John's oil shop, it's going to show that for every business. So that you don't want to do that. That's just like if it's let's say it's an event, let's say city or something. It would say state racetracks or something. We could add a specific image about the state stuff, but that's the state search result page, right? Not a specific listing. So just to answer your question about the images, though, everybody's got this in your developer section. There's a developers and image settings, and you can actually change the ratio and the standard for each of those items. So I actually have it incorrect as well based on, oh no, I don't. I have it set up. But for the profile logo, you can have it set for 200 by 200, and that's what it shows on the website, right? The ratio and the size, and that's the size that you're looking for. The size of the profile logos for social media sharing, it also has that in here, and it says a minimum of 200 by 200, but you can. These are free open ratios. So, and I'm going to do it actually right now because you're telling me to do that. 1200 by 628 is greater than the permitted limit. All right. So
you can do 600 by 314.
Wait, I'm just going to 620. I think it's just because I had the 6. Interesting. So I don't know where those came from, and I'm going to ask BD this. actually, I don't know if it has this one.
You know what though? I would do it as the the profile logo social media. I would do it more as a profile photo, and the ratio is 1.9 to 1.
Okay. And looks like you can't change that one.
It'll probably fill in if you did the 1200 by 628 on the right there. My guess is it would fill in, or if you did 600 by 314.
Yeah, and see 620.
Oh, that's defaulting to the 3. It's using the 3.4 as its baseline. Then interesting.
Yeah, so it won't let me do that. And in fact, it's cutting me off at That's interesting. I don't know why. I'm gonna ask this question. So actually, let me do that. 100. Okay. I don't know why it. Oh wait, that's the profile cover. So I'm not gonna save this. So interestingly enough, it does have a profile cover thing as well, and that can go that large. So I don't know because that's actually the first photo on a page. And so that actually may get picked up by the social media anyway first. Right. I'm not sure. But we'll have to play with that one for next week for everybody, but we won't drone on this too much longer. I just wanted everybody to know that you can set that. I don't know what the limits are on here. So we'll ask BD, or I'll try to find that to see what that is. If that's 1200 by 628 is kind of what you need for Facebook. And I imagine they're just kind of restricting that just based on bandwidth stuff, but you're paying for your bandwidth, so I would think you'd be able to do it what you want. I'm going to ask why that can't be 1200 by 628 for that logo or the social media piece and see what they say. But this is where that would be, I'm guessing, is that you would change it here or make it as big as you can, and then it shrinks it down for the actual profile logo on the platform, but it's kind of sitting in the wings, if you will, when you share it on social media, that it just balloons out to that larger image size. But realize for everybody too, if you do that, it's going to load that full image here because it's kind of waiting in the wings in the larger thing, but it's going to downsize it and shrink it dynamically to the smaller area. But realize it's gonna load the entire photo. Yeah.
And I included the link on the left hand in the chat here. That's a link that you can use and go to, and you can test and debug any link in the world, and it will tell you exactly how Facebook reads it if somebody shares it.
Yeah, great. I tried to find that my notes here while you were doing that. I was talking, so I couldn't find it, but I appreciate that. As I have that as well. The other thing I'll throw out on the debugger. Sometimes you will update the SEO stuff in the back end. I went off the SEO stuff, but whenever you're editing the SEO stuff, sometimes you'll change the template and you'll save it, and then you'll go to forward it onto Facebook, and you're like, crap, why is it showing my old metadata? Or why is it showing the old image? I just saved that. And you'll go back in here and hit save, save, save. It's because Facebook has a cache in there that they pull the data from your site. So if you just updated your SEO and you don't let Facebook kind of rediscover, or you don't share something for it to kind of pull it, it's going to pull the wrong data because you've already tried to share that once and you didn't like it and you changed it. It's using the old data. So go, and I think I'm thinking of that page.
There's a button that says scrape again. Sometimes you got to do it a couple times.
Exactly. So actually, I'm just going to pull it up here because I'm sharing it. It's going to say rescrape. Let me go to I'll just go to my website, for example, here. I can't remember if it says that, if it hasn't been scraped before, but just go ahead and hit debug. And after you do that, there's going to be a button here. It says scrape again. Just going to say, hey, we did scrape this on April 17. There we go. A couple of months ago, and that's what it looked like. And you see, I probably changed something. It says the best nothing, right? I probably changed that, or if I didn't, I'm going to after the webinar because that is not good, right? But if I did, all you have to do is hit scrape again. It'll refresh that, pull it, and then you'll be able to share it. Okay. So, but this is the larger image, like he's talking about. If he's sharing it, it'll have the big image here, and then all the info below that. And so I may have done that for the main page there. So
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's the 1200 by 628 that the link shows above, and is that the primary image on that? Is that Hudsonville.com / results? Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So that's just your main image that's in the in the header of all the primary pages. Got it.
Yep. Awesome. All right, thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. That was good. All right. Anybody else jump into the topic? I'm just going to introduce this, maybe jog some people's memory, not memory, but just discussion for today. I was going to talk about business software or I guess just stuff that you guys use for your directories. What's some stuff that you guys use that's indispensable to use all the time, or maybe it's something that you guys wish you had or were using that you just don't know how to use, but you'd love to start using a certain protective software. So that's kind of the question du jour. If anybody wants to talk about anything, what are you using? What do you love, or what do you want to use that you wish you did, but currently don't have or don't know how to? So you don't have to talk about that, but that's just the topic set that we're going to go over today. So, Mark, Hans, got anything? Frank?
Nope.
Nope, nothing for me.
You don't use any software?
What's that?
Said you don't use any software there, Hans?
Yeah, I do, but nothing that not on your level. I'm a total amateur here.
This is amateur hour. We're all amateurs in the game of entrepreneurship. So, what do you like? What do you like to use? If you don't mind talking about, what came to your mind when I said that?
Software for what? For photos or
just anything? We're just talking. I mean, yeah, images, videos, email. What do you anything you use for your business or have used? What do you love? What do you use?
Well, I've been using Loom for descriptive videos of how to do things on the site.
Okay.
I use Loom for that. I tried Dub that you recommended last week, but it's just a bit too complicated for me.
Okay.
Loom is a lot simpler. I don't know.
Yeah, and so it comes with its costs and benefits, right? Obviously, there and this is for any software, right? If sometimes it's always good to be a one-trick pony, right? You want it to do one thing, it does it really well and doesn't do anything else, but that's fine because you're doing it for one particular purpose. But the other side of that is obviously it only does one thing, and so maybe it doesn't integrate very well, or doesn't enhance or allow you to expand as you get more proficient, or you have other needs. Then you suddenly need another piece of software because that only does one thing. So benefits and costs to both those for sure. So for those of you who do not know what Loom is, and I'm just gonna you guys can go there, loom.com. I don't even need to show it, but it's basically a screen capture or screen recording software. And so what Hans is talking about is if you have, and I use this all the time for mine, and it just says Dub is the one I use, but it basically records your screen, records your voice and or camera, and you can basically explain something, and somebody can watch a short video and just know instantly what you're talking about based on the video. You have they were using Loom for my I have a 6-year-old, and his classroom, his teacher was recording just screen shares on Loom for some short videos on how to do a particular item, and it's great. You just send the link, and it plays the video. It's obviously not like an hour-long webinar on those things. It's basically usually a short snippet of recording, but it's great because you can do it once and explain it many times because people can watch the video, and you don't only have to do it once, and you can share the video, and they can get that access to that. So I'm just going to share my screen again. I'm going to show you what he's talking about for Loom. Loom is free, I believe. Hans, correct? Obviously, I think you can pay for it for other stuff, but I think it allows most people to do everything with advertising for free, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can get it for free. It looks like this. You have your video in there and screen share, that kind of stuff. For me, I use Dubb, dubb.com. And I'm just going to pull up one video or a URL for everybody on here and kind of show you what it looks like. I do have several videos I do or have done in the past, and I'm continuing to do those for the website and for the BD site. So here's an example. I'll put this in the chat room as well for everybody, so they can see it. But you can go ahead and play the video. But basically, what it is it has how this has come up several times in the directory today. In fact, once today, Frank put in a blurb. I put the video in the Facebook so you can watch it. But it's basically how do you add a pricing strikeout onto your pricing menu, and then there's a bonus in there on how to change the color of your listing so it's not the default gray text that's normally in the pricing menu. So this is a short video on how to do that. And so this is the example of what Hans was saying about of Loom. It does the same thing, just with a little bit less Gucci accoutrements on the video, but same deal. And there's lots of those that do that. If you guys want to do that, let's see. Cloud App is another one. So if you guys that I've used, if you guys are looking at doing that, Cloud App. I guess it's not .com. That's the thing. Everything used to be .com. Get Cloud App. There we go. So getcloudapp.com is another one. Again, all of them have different, feature sets, but generally the same: capture and share instantly. And then also Droplr is another one that I have used that works pretty good as well. And again, same type of thing that offers you to record the screen. And so obviously really good for for people with clients that need to explain something, but it may be good for anybody that's trying to you can do this for your directory as well. Record something for somebody on how to do it, save the video, upload it to YouTube, and or put it in your directory, and then add it to a frequently asked question page on how to do that. And so anybody can avail themselves of that and help their directory out. So that's a good one.
I was thinking about doing this on my directory, like a lot of how-tos and just in general type things for my clients, but integrating it into the directory too. So I was just curious what the best tools were. So this definitely answers that question.
Yeah, and I haven't compared the prices. I don't know. Obviously, you can get most of it for free, right? So for individuals, it's not going to break the bank, right? $4 a month for that one. Loom. I'm imagine most of these are below $10 a month, even for the Gucci stuff on there. And again, you don't need a lot of that stuff. Again, you're going to pay for taking their ads off, right? Or having some extra functionality free and $5 a month, right? And then, so you're going to pay for the custom branding, like I have on mine, the dub.com. Again, I think generally when you get in these kind of markets, they all kind of price. I need to log out here to see the pricing.
Yeah, they're all about the same.
They're all about the same, right? Because they're in competition with each other. One's not, well, there's probably going to be one that's the market leader, right? That feels they can charge more and probably do and be fine with it. But most of them are going to be generally priced around the same because they're peer competitors in that space. So the one I'm on, like Hans said, is a little bit more Guccier and is a little bit more expensive. But again, use it, to whichever one. This one, the only reason I use this one is it's got more reliability. The other one, sometimes if the video is too long, I can't remember what it is, it cuts it out, or sometimes it drops out in the middle and I got to start over. This one, it's been rock solid. It never bumps out. It uploads the entire video every single time and has been flawless. So that's my recommendation. Again, it does have a starter, to be honest, unlimited storage at standard quality with their logo and branding, free skis. So I would use this one, but up to you guys. Take a look at it. Just like any software, some of those are going to be better for you than another one, and you just have to check out to see what's best for your business. So John, you got some in there? Throw some out there. I got it in the chat there, but John, I don't know if he left or he's off video. Not sure. So anyway, what John was saying, he used Screencast. That's another one. Same thing. And then you can automatically upload it to YouTube, have it shared, or upgrade it for longer videos. There's some other stuff that have video recording capability in it. So John mentions GetResponse, so that's an option. That's one of those things where it's an email autoresponder, but also has other stuff in it. I think they actually have webinar in there as well. So again, if there's one particular thing that you want that has multiple things and you can kill 3 birds with 1 stone, that's probably a better thing for your money and efficiency as well, if all that stuff works for you. One thing about the
Can you hear me, Ryan?
What?
Hey, Ryan, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, good. If you don't mind, I'll just talk quickly about a couple of programs since
Sure.
I finally got. All right, thanks. Hey, yeah, I tell you, that Screencast is extremely nice. I like it because whenever I'm doing tech support for somebody, I can just go ahead and do a screen record real quick with me being on camera or not, and then I upload it to YouTube. And it's so fast. And the reason that it's so fast is because you actually log in to provide your login information to YouTube or Vimeo, wherever you want. So when you're done recording, you can just go ahead and click on upload, and then it uploads it to your channel. And you can say that you want it to be private, or you want it to, then you can go ahead and change it. I default to private. And then that way I can go ahead and change it to public if I want, do my SEO, keyword analysis, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, Screencast is free, phenomenal program.
Okay, yeah, so I'll let you jump in here a second again, but I was just going to mention on the Get Cloud app, that's one thing that is nice about that. I use that for images as opposed to video, because it does, most of these do images and video. But the reason I use the Get Cloud app for images is because it has an integration with my computer that it recognizes the print screen button. And what it does, I just have to hit the print screen button on my computer. It automatically takes a photo of what's on the screen and then copies it into your clipboard. So if I'm looking at something, I hit the print screen button, and then I can go straight to my chat room and hit paste, because it automatically uploads it and gives me a shareable web link to the image instantly. So I hit print screen on my computer, and then you paste it in the chat. Instantly, you have the image available to share. So yeah, that's interesting. You said that one goes straight to YouTube. Anything that does like efficiency stuff like that, where you can just instantly do stuff, that, believe it or not, that time adds up. And when you're saving all that stuff and you do that routinely, all that time adds up and is worth its weight in gold over time. Definitely.
Definitely. I thought Snagit was the ultimate program until I saw that. And the Snagit is really nice too, and I'm really glad they upgraded that. So, like you said, you can do video or you can do images, and then a lot of these programs now, as you know, have editing built in, so you don't even have to worry about having Camtasia or some expensive program like that. Right. But yeah, Ryan, you always have the best programs. You're a major resource for sure, you and Frank.
Kia, I apologize if I'm saying that wrong. I was asking if we're going to have access to the recorded video of this webinar. Yes, that is my intent. I am recording this. We'll download it. I'll get it up on the YouTube channel, and we are also live streaming it to the Directory Toolkit Facebook group as well, and it should be up on the live stream on Facebook after this is done as well. So yes.
What was the URL of that Streamcast? Is it streamcast.com?
Let me load it up here and let you know.
It is. Good question. Streamcast.network.com? No,
Streamcast.com.
No, it's stream-cast.com, I think. Hold on.
I'm on it.
Is it just Streamcast? Okay.
It's Screen, SCREEN, or at least if you're talking about the one I was talking about,
yes.
guys.
Yes.
Yep, Screencast. And learn more at, I'll have the URL for you.
It's
here.
by the same people who make Camtasia and Snagit.
No kidding. I did not know that.
Yeah, it's TechSmith. Yep. So I'll put it in the chat here.
Thank you.
There's the one that I had. Yep, there you go.
Oh, Screencast-O-Matic. That is different.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep, you're right. My
Use
mistake.
both of those.
Thank you.
You know, one other program, Ryan and guys, that I saw that I like is FastStone. I don't know if you ever had that experience, but I like to find my PSD files from Photoshop, but it shows an icon instead of an image of each file. So this FastStone program, it's called faststone.org, FS Viewer. Anyway, what it does is it allows you to actually see a thumbnail of all of the images, and then it makes it super easy to move files, create new directories, move things around. And the other thing I like about it is it's got, among many, many things that it does, it allows you to resize images on the just instantaneous. Does cropping and retouching and a lot of things like that. And I put the link in there for that URL as well.
Yeah, I think I already put it in there, but unless I did the wrong one again.
Talking about showing a thumbnail on your computer from your hard drive.
Yes. Yeah. You know how, like, if you go to
Have an option in the way you look at your files to show as image.
Oh,
Right.
no, I know. You're right, Frank. You know, I'm certainly with you. You can tell to view details, large icon, small icon.
Right.
And maybe I've just never been able to get Windows Explorer, File Explorer, to actually show the thumbnail of a PSD, of a JPEG, a PNG, all that. Absolutely. SVG, but
I
not.
see what you're saying. You're talking about the source file.
Yeah.
Yeah, the PSD. I wonder about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have another one I used for that, and I just can't think it off the top of my head. It did the same thing.
I want to see something on my Mac.
It was. I'll find it as before we're done here, and put it in there in case somebody wants to use a different one. But it was the same thing where you can, just look at them all.
On my Mac, it shows me everything as an image.
Yeah, I need a Mac. I really do.
Everybody
That's my
needs
next
a Mac.
computer.
If everybody can or send me $200 for 20 people, I'll get my $4,000. I'll get one. It'd be great. I don't have one either. Although I don't think I have too many programs I use on the non-Mac. I don't think I'd ever be able to switch. So.
Everybody says that until they find out how fast they could throw them out.
You know what I did, Ryan? I wanted to have Photoshop for my PC, and it's sort of related but different. And I found somebody who had an old Mac, 20-inch screen that they were selling for $99. It had Photoshop 6 or something like that, and that was fairly new at the time. It's probably 7 or 8 years ago. And I bought that computer for $99, and then I changed the license from a Mac to a PC. Sort of a good way to get inexpensive software.
Yeah. Frank's got like a 40-inch screen or something. He's got some Gucci thing in front of him.
I got the old cinema display, the best monitor they ever made. I go on eBay and buy them. So if one breaks, I always have another one in reserve because they're old. I mean, they got to be about 12 years old now. But I haven't found a better monitor yet. Every time I buy one to replace it, I send it back. It just doesn't look as good.
All right, I'm gonna try a thing here. The test and survey thing. It's kind of the question I already asked, but I just want to see what this looks like for everybody. There you go. You got the poll on your screen there? I don't know why. So this is open text for everybody. I don't know why it has the percentages on there because you can't. They're not choices. Maybe I'll do choices next time you'll be able to see it. But I'm testing this off for the software here. I want to see how this works. Everybody see that on the screen? Is it working for everybody? Or
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah, but I got to close my chat to see it all. So it's
Well, you need a wider screen monitor. Then you need a 50-inch.
it's giving me a time limit on how long I have to answer the question.
Yeah, because it's on the screen. We're going to use this for 10 minutes. Type in your answers. We'll move on and show something else. I don't want to, take up the screen the entire time.
Oh, I can really type on it here now? How's that possible? Where'd it go? Oh. So let's see.
Sure.
Hey, Ryan, while he's doing that, just real quick, how do I minimize the text? If you know, the chat.
Click on the chat bubble again. Does that work?
What else can I live without? Let me
I bet it does, doesn't it? Yeah. Golly, that was silly.
I'm going to say...
What I was trying to do was find out the gentleman's name who does the Facebook marketing stuff, and I can't see his name. I see Hands and MKR, but
Scott.
Scott. Hey, Scott.
Howdy.
Someday I want to talk to you about
Welcome.
what you do. I have some clients that might need what you do.
I appreciate that.
All right. This is sweet. This gives me opportunity to call out people who are not answering my questions. Tony, Deborah, Hans, John, Kia, Mabel, Rich. Answer the question. We'll get them in there. Just time's a
That's a good
ticket.
idea.
All right. Only 6 people now.
Yeah, I don't work good under pressure, okay?
Oh, this is like a SAT test, Frank. You gotta, get the. It's actually the easiest SAT test you'll ever take because it's just a blank. You
Yeah,
could
let me remind you that I have a GED. Why won't it let me click next after I put an answer in?
I think it
Yeah,
accepts it.
On question number 2, it doesn't extend beyond.
There's
Second.
only 2 questions.
What are the 3 go-to?
Well, you still have to do something to get it to.
I'm going to close it out in a second, and your answers will be locked in, so you don't have to do anything. Just testing this out. I appreciate everybody humoring me with this. I'll get some better questions, better process next time. I just want to see how this works.
Nothing you use works the way I like things to work. Nothing.
It won't allow me to put in the
Yeah.
second one either.
Pay thousands of dollars, get somebody on Fiverr to build you a new webinar software, and you can present that next week.
Next or finish, but it should let you click a button when you're done.
I know. It should.
Thank you. That's all I wanted to hear. And here's why. Because every time I complain about something, people want to act like I'm not making any sense. I'm making perfect sense. Okay. There are things called norms in life. When you're done something, you click a button that says complete. I'm done.
I'm getting a lot of responses in private chat that says that is not true. I don't know who's typing.
I don't care what those people say. What do I care?
For what it's worth, I see the same thing. I wrote a line in what software solutions do you feel you need but do not have or know how to use. I've got a line of text in there. I hit enter, and then next is grayed out.
Yeah.
And I can hit previous, it'll go back to the other question, but next
Right.
is grayed out.
I have the same
Oh,
thing.
thank you. I'm 1,000% right. That's all I
Me
want.
too.
Frank's not making it up.
No, that's all. Hey, that's great. Hey, can one of you guys take a screenshot with your getcloudapp.com app and then get that to me later, and I'll submit that as a ticket because I just can't see that from my presenter end, so I appreciate it. All right,
Sure.
so we'll talk
We'll
talk about it as we go here. Got After Effects. Looks like Adobe. Is that what that is, Frank?
After Effects is Adobe, and it may be one of the hardest programs in the world to learn to use, even at an extremely simple level. Okay.
Yeah.
I just bought something called Animator, Anymator, which I think is a poor man's After Effects.
Okay. So After Effects, obviously that's obviously higher end stuff. And again, just like those other softwares, you can do that for the graph. There's of all the programs that there's a lot of graphics programs are probably at the top of the list. So
yeah, and I've even signed up for courses for After Effects. I can't get through the first mini section of the first.
right. I think there's a course on the courses.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And
All
there's
right,
like when you open up the your work area, there's like 50 tracks of each little thing that's moving and spinning and writing, and you need 3 monitors to work on it. It's ridiculous.
Right.
But I
So
want
this
to.
will come up a lot is mailing software. So we'll table that one until we get on there. But like Russell, I know you put MailChimp in there originally, but there's a ton of those. And obviously MailChimp has been integrated, HubSpot, and some others. If it has an API, that can be integrated into BD by somebody who knows how to do that. And then affiliate programs, John, we were just talking about that. There's 2 affiliate programs. There's ShareASale and Post Affiliate Pro. Those integrate into the BD site. I think iDev Affiliate used to or still says they do. So I think there's 3. And then there's some other affiliate stuff. BD Blocks, I think, has one in there that's under development. And Yakin at Business Labs also said he has one. I don't know the cost of that. So there are probably 4 or 5 options for that. For the directories. And then Antonio said Photoshop, again, another item for that. Mark does not use any software, so that's.
Well, no, I actually on my first screen, maybe it didn't come through. I use mentioned about scraping websites. I use a software called Botsol, Botsol, and it's pretty good. You can do. They have many different types of scrapers and stuff, but you can scrape, different websites, other directories, and so forth. It's pretty quick. And
Okay, you haven't. I honestly have not heard of that. Web scraping. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so there's a lot of web scraping services as well. It's kind of garbage in, garbage out. Some of those too are pretty complex. That you have to upgrade to get different things to auto do whatever for you. And then you got to be careful if it takes a little bit of time to set up. And then sometimes you do that, you have a certain number of credits, so you got to watch out for that. And you may give you some data in the wrong spot or the wrong stuff, and kind of I want to say ruins your database. But you have a lot of work to fix it. So
yeah, this particular one, it's a license for like 6 months for I think it's like $100, but you run it simultaneously on 3 different machines at the same time.
And you might get your IP blocked too. It happens.
Yeah, they're set up where I want to say you don't use proxies and all that garbage. It kind of goes under the radar. It acts like it's like a almost like a human being type of thing. So like Google hasn't. I've been using it for over 6 months. It doesn't detect the pings or whatever. When it goes to the site, it almost mimics like a human type of thing. So I don't know. It's been working so far. Haven't had any issues with it.
All right, I think we're winding down. We're inside a minute. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the poll off. I appreciate. So here's the results here. Can you guys see that? No, it's just showing the results. Sorry. There we go. All right, so here's some of the. I'll share the screen here. These are some of the other ones that everybody had said that they use. So this is the one we were just talking about, Botsol there. So scraping stuff. Now you said it scrapes images too.
That's a good question. I haven't used it. They have different ones. They have one for Google. They have one Google Maps. They have like Yelp and I don't know, different ones that they.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, so a lot of these are set up.
They're specialized.
Like I was saying, they're specific ones, so they know where the hours of operation are, right? It knows where the image is, the whatever. So it's kind of already set up, and then they kind of keep track of the proxy stuff on where that's at, and then you can kind of just, they're usually more expensive. You kind of have to buy the template or the setup for that, but they usually work pretty good.
Yeah,
but again,
it's more of a crawler than it scrapes. Yeah. It's more of a crawler, I guess.
Yeah. Is this all for PC only?
I have it on. I just have PCs here, but that's a good question. I don't think so, but I think you can use it on Mac.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not positive. I just have Windows here, so
I have mixed feelings about scraping. I generally buy my list from good list providers. I pay through the nose, but I
Yeah.
get a quality product.
There you go.
And
One
I don't
PC only. Sorry.
It is
Okay.
PC only. That's what I figured. I don't have to do any work, and I get guarantees that come with the product. So,
Yeah.
I'm
It
just
takes.
one
It
of those
does. I
people-
have to admit, it does take a little bit of manipulation after you get. You know,
Yeah.
you
I'm-
pull it
I'm-
down as a CSV file, and you have to,
I'm too lazy
merge
for
and
all
different things and clean up the columns and all that
that. I
stuff.
figure for as many lists as I need, I'm happy to just pay.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
So there's another one, Light Shot. I think this, I'm not sure who said this one. This one looks like Mac or Windows. There you go, Frank. Everybody's happy. This takes a screenshot. So this is like the
Oh, I'm going to
Yeah.
tell you one I forgot. I
screen
found-
capture one
where'd
or
it go?
video. It's another example that we kind of already went over for the screen capture tool. So that's just another example. Everybody loves free. It looks like you can download it for free. I'm not sure what the limitations are, but again, there's usually always a free thing to get you in the door, and then they show you all the cool stuff that you're missing out on. And then Pixlr, I think this was Hans said this one, a photo editor, and it basically allows you to edit photos. And it looks, I always love these ones. I say cartoony kind of look, but they're just clean. They're easy to click it. You know what it is, and then it just does it, right? It's not anything fancy menus, small type. For Frank would love this one, big buttons, right? Easier to see. But it usually works good for doing on an iPad or something too, right? This is on a desktop. You can kind of click on the buttons and draw some stuff on there probably. So a lot better for that kind of click and drag stuff. But yeah, this one looks pretty good. And Hans, you said this was free or does it
Yeah.
cost money?
Yeah, it's free.
Nice. Very good. Yeah, I haven't seen this one. I'll have to look that. Obviously, I think it's a business. They have to have some sort of upgrade there. Yeah. But again, not going to break the bank, right?
Yeah. It's just, for me, it's just so simple. You don't have a huge learning curve. It's just a bang, bang, bang. You want to have a transparent background. You go click, 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 and you got a transparent background sort of thing. Really automated. That's that, and resizing and optimizing as well. Like optimizing for getting the size down. Right. Real quick.
Yeah.
Quick and easy. That's me.
All good. All right, John, what are you up to?
By golly. Trying to figure out if I had any other programs. I don't think I have any other programs to tell you about right now.
No, we can move back to directories. Now, I was just kind of talking about software there. I know some people. The interesting thing, obviously, about everybody in the same genre, everybody has a directory. Everybody's got to do the same things, right? Or generally similar. So it's always something good to talk about of what everybody else is using, because all you need to do is find that one thing that works for you, and then you use it all the time and can't live without it. And everybody has their own niche software. I was just wondering what everybody was needing to use for their directories.
Well, sure. Yeah, I love
We can-
it.
We can talk directory specific stuff. Obviously, we don't have to talk software. Rich, welcome. Are you on audio? Make sure.
Well, I was just going to say, if nobody else is talking, I think it's okay to say you guys can provide pretty good pricing on the directory software and the plugins or add-ons, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, Frank, do you want to talk to that or a little bit about just the big thing is that just like anything else, BD, there's a bulk discount, right? If you want multiple sites, you can get a discount, and so that's what that we have that we can pass on to you guys. If you guys get it through us instead of BD, if you need the VIPs or just a site. So,
Right. If we get a 10 price, you get a better 1 price than if you bought one from them.
and it just makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So,
And my VIP packages run for 18 months and not 12.
That's good to know, because I'll be up for that probably another 6 months. So,
Well, then it'll be only running for 12 because it's an 18-month license.
yeah. I'll go
Has
through you
the-
guys, or through Ryan. Then is that who you? I go through.
Well, so let me caveat that.
Ryan's
Okay.
site.
Yeah, let me caveat that. This is generally for anything on the BD site. It's all renewed. So when we say the deal on that, it'd have to be for a new directory because they don't let you resell the VIP stuff as a tag on, if that makes sense. So if you already have a directory with the VIP add-ons, you still can do it. You'd have to buy a license with the VIPs at that lower renewal rate through us for that VIP, and then just clone your current website to the new one, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. I got you.
But it's not just going to be the VIP package to add on to a directory you already have. But the basic thing is for us, then if you renew on that, it would renew at that lower rate, on the other website.
There's one other benefit too, that the sites, after we pass them on to you, will have a lot of modifications and customizations already done that you would have had to pay extra for if you went to Ryan or somebody else to add them later. And if you don't want them, you just turn them off. Make sense?
Yes. Yeah. My situation is I have the VIP and the BD license, first time, I got several months back.
But luckily for Scott, met people like him, he's in at the grassroots, and he can take advantage of it.
Yeah,
But you guys still can too. Again, it's just you'd have to clone over the website to get it over there.
I've got one other question that just popped through my mind as I'm looking through some of your directories. What is your experiences for those of you who own your directories with ad publisher networks, like whether it be Google AdSense? I've got a third-party ad publisher that I host ads from. That's inserted with HTML. It's basically it's inserted as HTML code in my.
Yeah, let's go there. What do you use?
Well, I use Google AdSense. That's one of them, and then I've got it's called Digital Throttle. It's a motorsport specific publisher network that I use for some higher CPM.
Do you want me to just do a walkthrough of the actual BD setup there?
Yeah, just so I can see, how many. Obviously, mobile versus desktop is different, but how do you can you allocate 2 spots per page? Can you make a header that's fed by your ad server? Can you have something in the column that's fed by your server? Can you put one in between every third or something or whatever?
Yeah, great question, Scott. Okay, so everybody's ad stuff is going to be in the design design settings for your particular site, and in there's going to be a ad banner section on here. And so Scott, to answer your question, it can get as Gucci as you want or as simple as you want. This is going to be the simple way to do it based on the BD site. There's some basic areas and versioning for the banner ad design in there that's kind of built in, and then you can add as many or change that up to however you want. So there are basically 10 default banner ad widgets locations that are built into the BD system. So it's got you can turn it on or off just by going yes or no. If all this stuff is set up, you can turn it on, turn it off with the click of a button. So that's nice. You can kind of turn it on or off if you're testing it out. These other ones have specific locations and then some generic locations. I'll go through each one of these one by one. The sidebar banner ad. And all of these kind of have the same features. So I'm going to go through the features here real quick. And then these all have the same thing, but just a different potential location. The sidebar banner ad, that is a typical sidebar banner location. I don't actually have any turned on. I'm just going to show you where it would be. If you are in an actual ad, it'll be in a sidebar, basically any sidebar. So I'll talk about this generically in a second as well. But every section of the BD site can have separate sidebar banners for it. So for example, this is the search results page. This is the search results sidebar. And so you can have that particular widget, the widget Bootstrap theme banner responsive size is what it's called, in any particular location you want on here. This is an example one. This is a custom one, but this is what it would look like, where it says support our sponsors. There'd be an ad here, and it would be this ad right here, the sidebar banner ad. And so in order to do that, what you want to do, I'll just do this real quick. Go to Toolbox Sidebar Manager. And when you open that up, there's going to be all the sidebars that we talked about for. This is the member search result sidebar. That's where we're at, the search result for a member. And you can go edit every single one of these, or you can make your own sidebars, right? If you want custom sidebars for specific areas of your website, you can do that. And then all you do is see that Bootstrap theme banner responsive size. That's the one I just showed you. That's the sidebar size. You would just drag that over, which most of it's already in there already. And then that just shows up in that location. You want it at the top, you just drag and drop it. It's now at the top. Hit save, and that will show that ad right here on that sidebar for that particular member search result and in that position. Does that make sense? So very dynamic. You can put anything anywhere on the sidebar for that particular thing, and this is how it works. That's the widget that we called. You can do one of three things. You can use custom embed code, and that will give you, see, I have ad plug is the one I use, but you can put that code, HTML code in there for AdSense. Whatever you want, put that in here. It'll dynamically parse that HTML or ad code into that particular banner location in that specific spot. You can also disable it. So you're like, I don't want the sidebar banner ads on right now. I'm going to disable that, and you can save it. It'll disable that. The other thing you can do is use the image banner ad, and then it's not really a code or an image or any code. It's basically just has a image. So it would be, it would just say, sign up now for the best deals. And it's just a picture that says that. You can click here to replace that image with whatever image after you upload it to your media manager. So 3 options: use a picture, use your custom embed code, or just get rid of it totally. So those are the options. That's the sidebar banner ad. Header banner ad. This header banner ad is in the header, kind of self-explanatory. The below header banner ad, that shows up right here. So it's basically below the header, basically above this right here. So in basically a 728 by 90, that kind of rectangular size right there. The footer banner ad, same thing. It's down here at the bottom. Would be right here. I have another widget in there, but it would be right here at the bottom. I think Frank's has that on there if we want to go to his. There we go. There's the footer one with his rotating one. And then there's the header right there. You can also add one to this is a custom one that we did, but you can also add a little banner image in here on the header. And that is I'm sorry, that's the header banner ad. This one right here that I just showed you. That's that header banner ad. And then the photo albums banner ad. Let me just go to let me go to this real quick. This one is fairly new. This is the photo albums banner ad. We talked about this last week actually, but I'll show you where it goes. I don't have one in here right now, but this is where it would be. It's basically on any of the multi-image items. It allows you to put after the last image on your entire directory, so it's kind of cool. This is the new feedback form and feedback survey software that I'm offering. You guys can go ahead and check that out. I'll put a link in the chat here if you want to do that. But at the end of the images, I'm just going to scroll through here. You'll notice at the back end there's a black one, and there's kind of a spot for another image. So that is basically an advertising picture or advertising space that you can basically monetize or sell or put AdSense or other advertising in there, and it shows up at the end of every single one of the multi-image post types on your website. So it's fairly new, but it's pretty powerful. It's pretty cool if you guys use that, and that's what that image one is. Put this in the chat.
So one ad goes to all your pictures. You can't choose to have different ads on different photo albums?
Correct. I think they may introduce that in the future, but I think right now it's just that one.
The other thing you showed us last week, which I was really interested in, was the ability to add a page to the top of any search result and put an ad in there.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a second. Huh?
Okay.
So these are the extra banner ads. These are just extra, right? And so you put ad code in here, and these aren't by default in any particular location. You can then just paste them in wherever you want into the website. So let's just use this one as an example. I'm gonna and so he's asking about something in particular. I'm just gonna do a quick demo with this one right here with this responsive size 2 ad. I'm just gonna pick a random image from my directory here. I'll put in there. I'll show you how to add that at the top, like Hans was saying. So I'm just going to do the local school. There we go. And then I'm going to save. So now that it's not on my site really right now because it's kind of in that one. I'm not calling that widget anywhere. So it's just kind of sitting in the wings, if you will. But I'm going to go ahead and grab that widget code and I'm going to add it to a page. Now, what he was saying was you can also dynamically add it in for a particular page. So let me go to my schools, for example. So I'm going to go to my school category, and these aren't let's go college and career. Let's say the high school is going to sponsor the cooking schools. That's not what I want. I'm going to do high school. See if that's a category. There we go. High schools. So now let's say our local high school is gonna there's 2 of them here in the local area. Let's say Hudsonville is going to sponsor this search result. So in here in this, every one of these categories has a particular specific search result. I guess a pretty URL. And I'll show you guys where that's at in the back end here real quick. So if you go to the member categories, you see this right here, the link URL. This is the pretty URL. You notice if you go to the website, it did a search result with TTID 172. What you want to do is go find that category or something you want to link to. And I'm going to type in high school here. So there's high school. See, the pretty URL is high-school. So I'm going to go back to the listing. It's going to look exactly like this, but it's going to be the pretty URL. And this is the one that gets usually put in the search results for Google and stuff, because it also has a dynamic search function, but it also has the pretty URL, because what this does is it gives you the SEO credibility that I now have the Hudsonville high schools in the URL, and it does better for the search results. But you notice this has exactly like it is before. So now you can actually make a specific listing or advertisement on a particular page by using the pretty URL. So I'm going to go back to and grab this code again. Just make sure I got it. And what you want to do once you're on this page, the pretty URL, you want to go to this one right here. It says create static page. Again, you have to be logged in as an admin, and then just on your admin, go visit website. So that comes up on there, but you want to hit the create static page. And there's a couple steps on this. And again, this will be in the recording if you want to do that. It's going to pull up the static page so you can save something in there. Now you want to add that same one back in here. It doesn't unfortunately do it dynamically. So I just want to double check high school. So it's got to be the exact same one. And then you want to pick from the page type. You want to do the post search or member search results. So member search results on the page type. And then I also want to put it on the display. I don't want it inside a tab. I want it above this content I'm going to add right here, above the member results. And what that's going to do is going to put it right above here, above the member results. So I'm going to do that. Looks like I got rid of that here. high schools above member results, member search results. I'm going to type that banner in that I just showed you. I'm going to hit save. And now what this does is it tells the system, hey, I've got static content that I want on that page. And so now when we view it now, it's the same thing we just said before, high schools. And it has this stuff. And of course, now it's not working and showing the content. So poor demo. It should have that content in it. Actually, I know why, because I don't think I pasted it in the code. There we go. So it's code. You got to put it in the code. Let me hit save there. Cross our fingers. And maybe it can't do that on the widget, so I'm just doing this on the fly. I'm not sure. Maybe it doesn't render widgets, so I'm just going to do the same thing I did before. I'm just going to put the image in there, and I think it'll put the code in there. I think just sometimes it has problems parsing the code. So there's some things you guys will realize, and for good reason. Sometimes BD blocks certain areas of the HTML code, so you can't put a script in there that can load nefariously for your members as well as obviously you, but it's kind of a universal code sometimes. So, so there's the school. I'm going to pick that, and you can. This is the one I did before, so I'm just going to pick that, and we'll just try it again with just the image. So again, if they were sponsoring that location, you can just put their image with a link in there dynamically. And for whoever the sponsor is, or maybe the ad. And again, I'll have to test it out for the ad to see if the AdSense would work in there. So there may be some restrictions. There's also some ways you can tell the code to allow certain span or divs or embed codes in there and not filter it out. So that very well may be what the case is on there. We just need to change some of the background code. But so there's an example right there, Hudsonville, and you can put sponsored by Hudsonville, whatever you want, but now they're sponsoring this code. So if I searched for anything else, let's go to my ethnic food category here, which I don't know if I have much in there. So they're not on that page, right? They're not there. But anytime you now go to the high school page,
hey, Ryan, I don't want to interrupt. I actually do have to run here. Got to get my son to his first job interview. So, but hey, thank you very much for all the information. It reminds me of WordPress. You've probably heard that before.
It's better though. I'll let Frank talk about that another time. But
just in regards to the look of how the user interface is, it definitely is much more user friendly as far as directory stuff. So I'd consider myself, scale of 1 to 10, probably about a 5 to 6 on WordPress. I had people who did work below me who are the web guys, but it definitely looks very, very user friendly from that regard, and it looks very similar in regards to how the different submenus are all scrolled through for the design basis. So
but I would compare this to managed WordPress, I guess, and it's not even the same realm of that. But they obviously it's not WordPress. The plugin's not going to break. They fix everything. Yep. It just works, right? And so that's the benefit. Yep.
That's a good thing. Well, hey, thank you very much, Ryan. Shoot me an email if you can. I'd love to learn about the packages you guys offer, for build out, et cetera. And Frankie, thank you for your insights, and everybody else as well.
My pleasure.
If you have questions at all about social media friendly search optimization or anything like that, feel free to let me know too.
Just remember you said that.
All right, and I'm gonna get you on. Scott, we're going to be doing a directory summit here shortly. We're currently recording some videos for that. I need an SEO discussion person. If you're willing to record a video on that webinar interview style, I'd love to have you on there for the directory summit.
You know what? I'll talk to you about that. When I say, I am not an SEO specialist. I just know how to make sure that, website backends work with when they're transferred to, I use Yoast like crazy. That was the tool that we always used on the WordPress background. And it's, a lot of people don't realize. Yeah. So I don't want to over describe what I do, but I'm much more of a 30,000 foot. Hey, make sure you know the basics so that you can make sure you're.
That's important.
Yeah, that's just as important sometimes. So.
Yeah. Don't have the basics.
Yeah. So, but hey, my son's yelling at me to get up and get him to his interview so he's not late. So I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much, and we'll look forward to connecting again soon.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you, guys.
Right.
Thanks.
All right, so we're about an hour and 45 in here. I think we normally go 2 hours before we kick it off, so I'll just do the 15-minute countdown there for everybody. Antonio said put the widget in the display settings, so I don't know if you want to jump on and mention what you mean by that. I'm not sure what he meant by display settings. But
while you're on search results, you may want to just show them on my Vineland NJ site how if you search a category and there's nothing in it, whether you are a consumer or a business, there's a form you could fill out and a video rather than getting that empty Google search results crap.
So do you know what search?
Search for church. There are no churches, I say.
There's no churches in New Jersey. That's probably accurate. No, I'm just joking. I don't know. All right. The church. Actually, I got to share my screen again. Huh? Hold on a second. So let me do mine. Let me show mine first. And then I'll show yours. A couple different options. I do like the video. I like his better, I think. Trying to find something. Let's see. See dinosaur. I'm trying to figure out what it would not be on my website here. All right, so let me share my screen again. Okay, so I have nothing on dinosaurs on my website, right? So what it normally does, it normally just says this: sorry, we did not find any results for your search. And then it just doesn't do anything. So what Frank is saying is you need a call to action. There's usually something else on the webpage that shows them like you're not alone. You didn't screw anything up. Mine just says your business could be the first listing. Click here to have your business be the first listing in this category and get great exposure. So like, hey, you're going to be the only one on here for that one. They click there and they can sign up. That's how mine is set up. For Frank's, his again, I'm just going to type in church. He says there's no churches in his city. So sure enough, there are no churches, but she's there. And so what happens when you show up, it basically says the empty search results. And you can play the video. I'm actually curious to see if this, let me know if you guys can hear the sound once this starts.
Search returned useful information. If not, please let us know how we might further assist you. Our goal is to provide relevant search data. Whether you are a company looking for information about a new or current listing, or a consumer searching for or looking to recommend a business, use the form below to contact us. We respond to all messages the same day. Thank you.
And that's Frank's wife, actually. That's amazing. I can't believe. No, I'm just joking. I'm not sure who that is, but that's an awesome video.
Just one of my girls.
Okay. So you can see that. Were you guys able to hear the sound fine?
Yep.
Okay, great.
And look at the form, how it's got dropped down.
Yeah.
So you can pick.
So now it says now you can say I'm a consumer wishing to comment on a current listing, or I'm looking to recommend, or I'm interested in the directory. So now they can add their stuff in there, their contact with the get message form, and hit send message. So now it kind of explains it. Mine went to the join page. His is not asking them to join. It's asking them to interact with, like, get to know the website a little bit better and interact with him. And then he can use that as information to then fill this gap, right? Get them on there and fill the stuff on. So that's great.
Sell them
Frank.
something. Sell.
Yes. sell them something. That's always good, right? So, so that's you always want to have a call to action, right? Every single time, and that's always something good to do. Right on cue, today's call to action is to those forms and feedback surveys I talked about. You guys can go ahead and click there for info or go that chat. I'm going to actually talk about this next webinar. I'm going to do a live walkthrough, kind of show you what it is. What it basically is it's feedback and forms and surveys for your business, where you can get a net promoter score or kind of see how everybody what everybody wants to provide for your site or information. You can also take information from them on a normal form. You can have them click on an image or more interactive kind of stuff. But it allows you to do forms and surveys, and it's very user friendly. You can even embed it inside of your actual page. And so if you guys go to that link there, you can actually see a live view of it as well. Just kind of see how it looks on the BD site. So it embeds right in there. And just like any of these other softwares or whatever, sometimes some tools inside the BD are not the best for certain functions. And the forms, although powerful, are maybe just one page and a little bit more antiquated. This allows you to do a lot more things, and it embeds right into your BD site. So this is just one example of a service you can use, but one that I have available that we can hook everybody up with for a lot cheaper price than actually is available on their own website. So that is available at the Directory Toolkit site that we can provide. So I'll go over that a little bit more in depth next week. So that'll be one of the topic sets. So Mabel's asking the question, is there some sort of feature for the members to raise money on the platform, like a GoFundMe page? Now, Mabel, I saw, believe it or not, Frank and I were actually talking about this before the webinar. So one of the things that we always want to throw out for everybody on these is, although BD is a flexible service, it's one of the best and most flexible services out there in content management systems, the CMSs overall. It is a directory website, right? It's a directory. So it can do a lot of things, but what you don't want to do is try to force it to do something it's not, because then it doesn't function the way it's supposed to for what it's supposed to, and it's a directory site, not a funding site. It's not a shopping cart. It's not a myriad of other things, right? You can make it do that, right, with some plugins or paying people to do that, but the real question is why? You're using BD to be a directory of stuff, not to do that. And the other piece of that, and then I'll let Frank talk. I'm sure he has some opinion on that as well. But the other thing that you want to do is you want to have a good business premise on how you're setting up your website. So I also would not recommend having donations to your webpage that people are paying to a nonprofit site and then try to take some of their nonprofit money that they're giving to a nonprofit, unless you yourself are a nonprofit, just because you have a directory, because I don't think those two things necessarily line up in terms of that. But Frank, do you have any?
Yeah, that to me, that business premise will go over like a lead balloon, but I run a nonprofit, so I have very strong feelings about that. The other thing is, if people want to do fundraising, you got to put yourself in their shoes. How much traffic are you drawing to their site, to their listing, for them to actually be able to raise any money on your site? If they're serious about raising money, they're going to go to GoFundMe, because that's what it's there for. It's designed for one thing, and to do it well, and to drive millions of people per day to that site in an effort to allow people to raise money. I think you also made a post about wanting to recoup your processing fees, which I'm not sure if I understood what you were saying correctly. But if you're doing a site where you're generating income, those processing fees are part of your cost of doing business. And if you even do it up front, where you tell people, well, I want your fee plus 2.5% to recoup my processing fees. That violates the terms of service of any processor that you're working with. And it really makes you look so, what's the right word without me? I don't want to offend you, but I think it just makes you look so that you're just looking for every money grab. I mean, when I buy stuff on, here's a perfect example. I bought 2 camouflage masks the other day for going out in public. The guy said, do me a favor, send them as you're my friend. Send the money through PayPal that you're my friend. And I wrote back and I said, no, I'm not going to send money that you're my friend. You're a business. Now, what I will do, if you're that desperate for the 26 cents that you're going to make by me doing that, I'm going to add the 26 cents to what you're charging me. I'm going to keep my ethics intact. And now everybody's happy. He says, oh, that's fine, as long as I get my 26 cents. So this is what I have to deal with in life on a daily basis. And will I ever deal with that person again? No. Processing fees are a cost of doing business.
Yeah, and I think you can get more benefit doing the opposite. And I've seen this a lot online too, where that the fact that it's all inclusive is your calling card of why they want to go with you. Because everybody Frank's right. Everybody gets nickel and dimed. Every time you see something, the old phone bills, the perfect example. Actually, I think it was Sprint that did this. They're like, there's no extra cost. It is literally $20 a month or $30 a month per line. There's no extra fee. There's no taxes. It's $30. When you get your bill, it's going to say $30. And they're like, everybody, and then they start making fun of everybody else. Like, Verizon's $8.95 per month for a FCC fee, and then a tax, and then a tax on the tax. Did we mention ours is $30 all inclusive? $30, right? But
the most important part of the whole thing is if someone reports you, you're violating their terms of service. They could just say, you know what? We're not handling your account anymore. And then where are you? Over pennies? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Right.
Now, again, maybe I did not understand what you were getting at in your post, and I apologize if that's what happened, but that's the way I read it. So
going back to the don't make the directory do what it's not, you can, right? But like there was another post, somebody asked, hey, the jobs post type is not very lucrative. I want to know, how can I make my BD site run like Indeed? Right? I mean, that was a question. So I was joking with Frank earlier about it, and it's facetious, right? But it's totally like you can't say, hey, how do I make my BD site into Facebook? I want to compete with Facebook through my BD directory. Is there a script for that, right? Or does anybody know how to do that? You can't do that, and it's hard. Those are huge, specific niche industries that are built from the ground up to do that specific very thing, right? You're not going to, you can have a classifieds post type on your directory, but it's not going to be eBay. You can have the job post thing, but it's not going to be Indeed. And you can have a donation link, or they can add a product type that's a donation, but it's not going to be GoFundMe. But it can do all of those things, right, in your directory and have a capability. So
you can have a forum if you want it, but why not just put up a forum site and link to it? Because the forum site is going to run 1,000 times better than any forum you're going to put on Brilliant Directories. 1,000 times better. So you put a link to it. Here's a link to our forum. I don't understand it.
But having said that, it is a flexible platform. There are developers in the marketplace. So if you want something specific, you want to pay for it, you can have it done. And I'll just leave it at that. You can do pretty much whatever you want. You just have to pay for it, because odds are, and this happens all the time, if it's so specific and niche and you want so many different requirements, it's probably not been built yet, or at least not been built with your specifications. So even if somebody built it into their directory, had a developer do it, you're going to not want that specific thing, or they built it into that directory. So you're going to have to pay to develop it into your specific directory again, because there's going to be stuff that you want. It's not going back to Scott's thing. I know he's out, but It's not WordPress, right? You're not going to buy necessarily a script ready made from somebody and it turns into Indeed or a GoFundMe page just by adding a plug-in. You can pay for that. There's just obviously WordPress is a lot bigger. I think everybody knows that. There's a lot of people developing for that, but it leaves a lot more vulnerabilities. The plugins all interact and interfere with each other. BD's set up good. It does a lot of things. It's very flexible, and they maintain it, and it just works. And so just be careful about doing too many customizations.
And if you're running a site where you're not asking people for money, you're not charging for memberships, you're not selling advertising, sure, put a PayPal donate button on your site. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But if you're charging people money, you gotta put yourself in the other person's shoes and say, what do they think of me when they see this? How does this strike them? What initial impression am I giving people? And sometimes you say, oh, you know what? Maybe it's just like I won't put AdSense on my site. Yeah, for the pennies a day that I can make with AdSense, I'm gonna degrade my site, because you know what it says to somebody when they see AdSense? This guy isn't making a penny, and he's so desperate for money that he's running AdSense. Sorry.
So, yeah. So, Mabel, I don't know if you can come up on com there. I know you were saying that the wrong person on the processing fees. That's fine. That question was asked. If it wasn't you, I don't know if you're saying that he's wrong, that it doesn't break the terms of agreement. I'm not sure what that was. Okay, she's saying it was somebody else, Frank.
Sorry,
but again, it's still a valid point. If
doesn't matter who
that
said
was
it.
asked,
Somebody posted in the
forum.
forum yesterday, in the group yesterday, and it hit me right away. I was like, "What are you talking about?" So, again, and there was no personal offense intended. People come here to get answers, to get comments, to get perspective. So you gotta let us do what we do to try to help you. We're not here to hurt you. We're really trying to help you. And the less mistakes you make in the beginning, the better off you're going to be going forward. So if I didn't love you, I wouldn't be here.
Awesome, guys. We're at 2 hours. We're going to sign off there. I think the live stream actually did stop 1 minute and 50 seconds ago. So thanks for everybody for being here. Everybody that was on here today, thank you. And hopefully, again, I'll reiterate for everybody, feel free to jump in at any time. The next time you're coming in here, if you didn't feel welcomed or didn't feel you could jump in, please do that. Get your comments in there. We want everybody to contribute and come up voice and or video if they want and get their voice heard. Appreciate everybody being here today. And I think this worked pretty good. We'll get some feedback on this one for tomorrow, but same website, same bat channel, same bat time. We'll be here next week. So again,
Thanks, Ryan.
everybody being here, and
Ryan?
have a great week.
Ryan?
Yeah.
Ring me for 60 seconds when you're done, would you?
Will do.
Okay.
See you.
See you, everybody.
Thank you.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye-bye.